Being alone is not a weakness. Being alone is a power. When you are alone, you are with yourself. And when you are with yourself, you grow. Most people fear solitude. They run from silence. They distract themselves with noise, people, entertainment, and meaningless conversations. But the greats, the ones who make history, understand that being alone is where power is built. Think about it. The most successful people in the world, they weren't made in crowds. They weren't made in parties. They weren't made in gossip and small talk. They were made in silence. They were made in discipline. They were made in the loneliness of their grind. When you are alone, you have time to think, time to reflect, time to plan. No distractions, no opinions, no negativity, just you and your thoughts. And that's where real power is born. Most people don't reach their full potential because they are afraid of being alone. They need validation. They need approval. They need company. But the truth is, the ones who change the world are the ones who can stand alone. The ones who embrace solitude. The ones who use their alone time to build, to create, to sharpen their minds. Being alone teaches you who you really are. It forces you to face your weaknesses. It forces you to confront your fears. It forces you to deal with your pain. And when you overcome that, when you conquer yourself, nothing can stop you. Because the hardest battle you will ever fight is not against the world. It's not against your haters. It's not against your competitors. It's against yourself. And the only way to win that battle is to spend time with yourself, to master your mind, to control your emotions, to discipline your habits. So stop fearing being alone. Start using it. Use it to grow. Use it to think. Use it to work on your craft. Because while the rest of the world is distracted, while the rest of the world is caught up in noise and drama and meaningless things, you will be leveling up. You will be evolving. You will be becoming unstoppable. Because being alone is not a curse. Being alone is a power. Being alone is not a weakness. Being alone is a power. It's in solitude that the greatest minds are sharpened. It's in silence that vision becomes clear. It's in isolation that warriors are forged. The world will tell you that you need to be surrounded by people, that you need constant company, that you need approval, attention, validation. But let me tell you the truth. Greatness is built in solitude. Every genius, every legend, every trailblazer spent time alone. The athlete, training in the early hours before anyone wakes up. The artist, painting in silence while the world sleeps. The entrepreneur, working late nights, building a dream no one believes in yet. The writer, lost in thought, crafting words that will one day inspire millions. Greatness is built in solitude. But most people fear it. They fear being alone with their thoughts. They fear facing their own demons. They fear the silence, because in silence, the truth is loud. The truth about their doubts, their insecurities, their weaknesses. But here's what you need to understand. Being alone doesn't break you. It makes you. It builds discipline. It builds resilience. It builds self-awareness. When you're alone, you hear your own voice. Not the noise of the world, not the opinions of others, not the doubts of those who don't believe in you. Just you, your thoughts, your vision, your mission, and that is where power is born. You see, most people never reach their full potential because they are too distracted. They're caught up in the opinions of others. They're too busy comparing themselves to someone else's highlight reel. They're too afraid to step away, to stand alone, to do what is necessary to rise above the rest. But those who are truly great, they embrace solitude. They use it as fuel. They use it to focus, to sharpen their skills. I want you to take a moment and think about something powerful. Not wealth, not fame, not even strength. I want you to think about solitude, being alone. Because being alone is not a weakness, it is a power that few understand, but those who do master their destiny. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need validation from others, that we need to be surrounded by people, that we need approval. But let me tell you something. Greatness is often found in solitude. The most successful people, the most disciplined, the most focused, they know the value of being alone. Being alone is where you meet yourself. It's where you come face to face with your thoughts, your fears, your dreams. It's where you learn who you truly are when no one is watching. Denzel Washington once said, "You pray for rain, you gotta deal with the mud too." That means if you want success, if you want greatness, you have to embrace the struggle. And sometimes that struggle is walking alone. Think about it. Every great leader, every visionary, every innovator had a period in their life where they walked alone, where they were doubted, where they had to believe in themselves when no one else did. Being alone is where discipline is built. It's where focus is sharpened. It's where you learn to move in silence. It's where you stop seeking validation and start creating results. Most people fear being alone because they don't know what to do with themselves. They fill their time with distractions, with noise, with people who add nothing to their growth. But the wise ones, the strong ones, they use that time to improve. They read, they learn, they train, they strategize. Success is not found in the crowd. It's built in the hours when no one is watching. Michael Jordan didn't become great by partying with the crowd. He became great by spending countless hours alone in the gym. Kobe Bryant didn't perfect his craft by seeking attention. He did it by waking up at 4 a.m. and working when the world was asleep. Being alone is not loneliness. Being alone is power. It's the power to stand on your own 2 feet. The power to not be swayed by the opinions of others. The power to build yourself into something unstoppable. You see, most people are afraid to be alone because they are afraid of their own thoughts. But if you want to succeed, you have to face yourself. You have to be comfortable with who you are. You have to know your strengths and your weaknesses, your fears and your ambitions. Because when you know yourself, no one can shake you. No one can break you. No one can make you doubt your path. Denzel Washington says, "Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship." And that's the truth. Growth comes from discomfort. And sometimes the biggest discomfort is being alone. But in that solitude, you become dangerous. Because while others are distracted, you are focused. While others seek approval, you are mastering your craft. While others follow the crowd, you are building your own path. The lion doesn't fear being alone. It hunts alone. The eagle doesn't fear the sky. It soars alone. And the most successful people don't fear solitude. They embrace it. So, if you find yourself alone on your journey, good. That means you're on the right path. That means you are leveling up. That means you are preparing for something greater. Use that time to sharpen your mind. Use that time to grow stronger. Use that time to become the person you were meant to be. Because when you step back into the world, they won't recognize you. You'll be sharper, wiser, stronger, and most importantly, unstoppable. Remember, being alone is not a punishment. It's a gift. It's where the weak break, but the strong rise. It's where dreams are born and legends are made. So, embrace your solitude. Master yourself. And when the time comes, let the world see what you've been building in the dark. Because being alone is not just a power, it's the foundation of greatness. We live in a world that tells you that being alone means something is wrong with you. That you need to be surrounded by people, by noise, by constant distractions. But the truth is, the greatest transformations, the greatest growth, and the greatest breakthroughs happen when you are alone. Think about every successful person you admire. They didn't become great by following the crowd. They became great because they dared to walk alone. When you are alone, you have time to think. When you are alone, you have time to plan. When you are alone, you have time to reflect. And when you are alone, you have time to work. Some of you fear being alone because you are afraid of silence. You are afraid of your own thoughts. You are afraid of facing yourself. But let me tell you something. Your greatest enemy is not the world outside. Your greatest enemy is the version of you that refuses to grow. And growth happens when you separate yourself from the distractions, from the noise, from the opinions of others, and focus on building the strongest version of yourself. Denzel Washington once said, "If you hang around 5 confident people, you'll be the 6th. If you hang around 5 intelligent people, you'll be the 6th. If you hang around 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th. But if you hang around 5 fools, you'll be the 6th." Sometimes, the best thing you can do for your life, for your future, is to step away from the wrong crowd and walk your own path. Because not everyone is meant to go where you are going. Not everyone is meant to understand your vision. Not everyone will see what you see. And that's okay. Greatness is lonely at first. Success is quiet at first. But that's what makes it powerful. The real work happens in the dark, in the early mornings when no one is watching, in the late nights when no one is clapping, in the moments when you push yourself because you refuse to settle for average. Being alone teaches you discipline. Being alone teaches you resilience. Being alone teaches you how to stand on your own 2 feet. Because if you can't stand alone, you will always need someone to hold you up. And let me tell you something. There is no power in being dependent on others. There is no power in needing validation. There is no power in being unable to survive without a crowd. The strongest warriors fight their battles alone before they ever step onto the battlefield. The most powerful minds are shaped in solitude before they ever influence the world. The greatest leaders learn to lead themselves before they lead others. So if you feel like you are walking alone right now, don't be discouraged. You are in training. You are sharpening your mind, your skills, your spirit. You are preparing for something greater. Denzel Washington once said, "You pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud too." That means you can't ask for greatness and then complain about the struggle. You can't ask for success and then complain about the solitude, because success comes with a price. And part of that price is learning how to walk alone. You see, most people will never understand this message because they are too afraid. Afraid of the silence, afraid of the loneliness, afraid of the work that comes with self-improvement. But you are different. You are not here to be like everyone else. You are not here to live an average life. You are here to be exceptional. And exceptional people move differently. They don't chase crowds, they chase purpose. They don't beg for approval. They build confidence from within. They don't waste time, they invest it. So, I challenge you today. Embrace your solitude. Don't run from it. Use it. Use it to grow. Use it to build. Use it to become so strong that when you finally step back into the world, no one will recognize you. Because that's what happens when you master being alone. You transform. You elevate. You become unstoppable. And when that moment comes, the same people who doubted you, the same people who laughed at your silence, the same people who questioned your path, they will look up and wonder how you did it. And the answer will be simple. You were not afraid to walk alone. You were not afraid to put in the work. You were not afraid to become the person you were destined to be. Being alone is not a weakness. Being alone is a power. In solitude, you find yourself. In solitude, you understand your strengths. Most people fear being alone. They fear silence. They fear the absence of distractions. But that fear is what keeps them weak. Greatness is born in solitude. The strongest people in history spent time alone. They separated themselves from the crowd. They embraced the quiet. They embraced the struggle. When you are alone, you listen to yourself. You hear your own thoughts. You understand your emotions. You face your fears head on. The world is full of noise. People talking, judging, distracting. But when you are alone, you control the noise. You control your energy. Being alone forces you to grow. It forces you to develop self-discipline. It forces you to become mentally strong. Some people always need company. They need validation. They need attention. But those who master solitude master themselves. If you want to be great, learn to be alone. If you want to be powerful, embrace the quiet. If you want to be successful, stop depending on others. Winners train alone. Champions work when no one is watching. Legends are made in silence. When you are alone, you get clarity. You understand your purpose. You see where you need to go. You focus on your dreams. The world will try to distract you. It will try to keep you busy with nonsense. But your power comes from ignoring the noise. Your power comes from staying focused. Use solitude to build yourself. Use solitude to sharpen your mind. Use solitude to strengthen your soul. The greatest ideas come from silence. The best decisions come from deep thought. The most successful people spend time alone. Denzel Washington once said, "Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship." Being alone is hard, but it pushes you forward. It forces you to grow. The weak run from solitude. The strong embrace it. The weak need company. The strong create their own energy. Don't be afraid to be alone. Be afraid of being dependent. Be afraid of needing others to be happy. True confidence comes from within. True strength is built in silence. True success is earned in solitude. So step away from the distractions. Step away from the noise. Step into your power. Your future depends on what you do alone. Your success depends on your focus. Your legacy depends on your discipline. Be comfortable with yourself. Be confident in your own presence. Be powerful in your own mind.